you're looking at Windows 10, and it's running a Lenovo ThinkPad T61P from roughly 8 years ago. Now, the interesting thing about Windows 10 is it's had some issues, stability issues on this particular build, 9879. But here we're clean in that I've gotten past them and I've installed all the updates. I should point out, if we say View Update History, you'll see a bunch of stuff in there, right? There it is. Now, if you click here on the Start button, click on PC Settings, you will also see that under Update and Recovery, Preview Builds, I've got it cranked up to check for previews quickly, and they're none available. So this is what's current today for my Veeam Endpoint Backup Beta. Now, if we open the zip, just double-click it and then double-click the exe to launch, it'll work. It'll kick off the installer. So important to point out, you don't actually have to right-click it on zip or decompress. You can just double-click and launch, and you got yourself the Veeam installer. User access control comes up. I say yes. I'm now done with Windows Explorer. I can close that. So what we're doing here is checking how it goes on Windows 10, and apparently not very well. Okay, so let's get a little more creative. It didn't like the version of the operating system it saw, so I'm now inclined to go ahead and extract it after all. Doesn't take very long, as you'll see. Why am I doing this? I'm going to point to the exe and fudge it a bit by right-clicking Properties, Compatibility tab, and let's pretend we're on Windows 8 for a little bit here. That's it. Okay, so we now have the executable. We're looking at Windows Explorer. We've told it, tell this exe that we're actually running on Windows 8, and see if the Veeam installer is fooled by that and continues uneventfully. Hopefully. We'll know soon. Okay, so we can click Finish. Never mind. Click Skip Auto Config and then click Next. And we don't need the recovery media now. So the install is done. How do we know? Oh, there we go. You can drag that over here. We want to see that icon. Okay, backup settings are not configured is what it's telling me. Sounds okay. So we double click the tray icon. What happens? We get the wizard. I'm going to do a shared folder. Click on Populate. And this is looking promising. Let's go ahead and run that right away. So far it appears to be working without incident by pretending it's Windows 8.1. So that's kind of the oldest trick in the book to get software to run on a new platform that it's not used to yet. More interesting will be, can it do a bare metal restore? Now, I don't have to look at the tiny little thing. I can double click it and bring up the GUI, the UI. Recovery appliance, I already built it. So one of my previous videos shows me building it. So yeah, I'm going to leave the recovery appliance alone. But it's possible that might mess up too, right? I've got one that was built back on Windows 8.1. Let me grab another blank USB key and shove it in, and we'll go ahead and build ourselves another recovery media. Now, it's going to take a while for that backup. while that's cruising, let me push my luck a little bit because this is going so well. And head on over to program files. Type in V for Veeam, star.exe for all the executables. All right, check this out. There's our list of executables. And they're pretty well named. I would say recovery media sounds really promising. What do you know? It can do two things at once and create the recovery media right on this USB key I just stuck in there that it's going to format, and that's fine with me. Now I should point out what I did is absolutely unsupported. Windows 10 is unsupported, first of all, but running those executables, nowhere does it tell you, you know, that's a cool thing to do. If we dig a little bit into all apps, do we see icons for those behaviors? We do. Create recovery media, so that's cool. So never mind, it's perfectly legit to create recovery media. And if we look at open file location, it looks like that's the shortcut. So if we look at the properties of the shortcut, it's just launching Veeam Endpoint Recovery Media.exe. No secret there. All right, that's cool. So we'll now just let it rip. That backup's going to take a while. When it's done, I'll resume recording. And the interesting part will be I can show you a bare metal restore of this laptop, and we'll see if it pulls from the network share an image and rebuilds the C drive, and see if we can get this laptop, you know, bootable again. So gotta wait a bit though before we get into that. That first backup, of course, takes longer because we've got a 96 gig SSD. It's about 89 gig formatted, and I'll show you that. At least it's an SSD, so it'll be a little quicker. Look at the properties of the C drive, there you go. So only a quarter full, 25 gig of data. It's a base Windows 10 install we're looking at here with all the Windows updates on it. See you in a bit when this backup is done. And this USB media creation wizard is also completed. Okay, so the backup is finishing up. It's now 8 p.m., so it's a nice even half hour to finish that first backup. This was over gigabit, but it's a 8-year-old T61P. So yeah, not a speed demon. SATA 2 interface, it can only back up the bits so quickly. Also, it's backing up to a pretty modest enclosure that doesn't really have that amazing throughput either. So 25 minutes it's saying. Let's click on it. There's our summary. So the actual chugging of the data over the gigabit wire there was 22-minute portion of that backup. All right, so now comes the real fun, and that is restoring from that backup. So what can we do to help prove that it works? Well, let's think about that. What's quick and easy? Well, I don't really want to change partitions. I just want to blow away everything that's there and restore from it. So that's fine. We've created the recovery media. It's already stuck in the drive, the USB bay, I should say. Now it's time to go ahead and boot from it. But I want to set up remote control first for you here. So let me set that up. Okay, got remote control set up. So that's the console. It's keyboard, video, mouse over IP. So you're going to see the machine boot over there. And because I'm on RDP, this button is not going to let me restart. So I'm going to have to do it through this interface, the local keyboard, video, mouse over IP interface. There we go. Got restart. And it's warning me. Sure you want to do that. There we go. You'll see RDP in the background broke, no desktop protocol. And now you'll be able to see the laptop actually rebooting. You'll see the Lenovo splash screen coming up here. And I need to get ready on F12. Preparing boot device list. You might have seen that very briefly. Now I'm ready to pick the verbatim drive that we built there. That's just a thumb drive I had laying around. And it's going to take a little while to boot off that recovery media. We'll see how that goes. Interesting, the build number I was looking at on the bottom right. Huh. Okay, bare metal recovery. So we built Windows PE, and Windows 8.1 is build 9600. This is build 9879. So interesting. It's a newer version of PE, I'm thinking. Local storage or network storage. We want network. Ethernet drivers loaded. We're good to go there. Shared folder. Sounds good. Let's see if the browsing in the network neighborhood actually works in the boot environment. Yeah, it does. That's cool. So if you didn't remember the name of your network share server, this might be able to help you. Yeah, then again, maybe not. Okay, I'm done waiting for that. It's okay. Oops. There we go. Click on next. There's no test button there, but we'll know soon enough. It found backups, all right, and it found this machine. And one of them is on this day, today. This is the Windows 10 backup. If we open that up, you'll see it's today, the 16th at 7:30 p.m. And cross our fingers. And it works better if you select something. There you go. The UI now says what's coming for the ride. One disk. Windows Technical Preview is the name. Entire computer sounds nifty to me. And run now. Off it goes. So now we simply let it rip and wait to the end to see what really happens. Do we have a working system? My bet is yes. If we got this far, this is looking quite promising that Veeam has little to nothing to do to get ready for Windows 10, other than recompile the exe to allow Windows 10 without having to flip that bit and fake it to thinking it's Windows 8. Okay, so it's finished. And now we're ready to restart. That recovery USB key, flash drive, it's not needed anymore. So I can pop that out. Now we wait to see what happens with the boot. I did not hit F12 or any keys, just wanted to resume the normal boot order. And what we should be looking at is Windows 10 without, corruption or any problems that we can see. And what'll be missing is any kind of activity before that backup was completed. So it's now, let's see, 8:19 p.m. Should give you a clock so you can see what's going on here. There you go. I get a clock. And okay, we got local video now, and it's coming out of the laptop screen just fine. So I can restart remote desktop connection. And reconnected. And we're in. So that looks good. There, I just hit function F7 and that got the external video. So that is the same machine we're talking about now. I can now convince myself that we're good. It sure is acting normal. We're good. I think OneDrive may have slowed things down actually for the boot. So you can see the next scheduled backup is there at the defaults, Wednesday, tomorrow morning. Recovery appliance has not been created. Well, let's think about that. Makes sense, right? We kicked off a backup, and while the backup was underway, meaning the VSS or volume shadow copy stuff, grabbed that moment in time and then did a backup from that moment in time forward. Any files changed after, not captured. So that means an operation like creating the recovery media didn't get captured. It doesn't know we did that after we kicked off the backup. Does that make sense? So had we created the recovery media and then done the backup, you wouldn't see this warning here. Okay. Now, if we try to just double click here, it makes sense too that we didn't see a backup showing. Why? Because it's the same logic. So that's it for this video. Windows 10 works with this beta. I think that's pretty safe to say.